What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Welcome back, man. Welcome back to another Sunday morning start-sit live stream. We're going to be answering some start-sit questions here as we approach Week 8 of the fantasy football season. Lots of games on the slate here today because if I'm not mistaken, I think we don't have any bye weeks this week. So we got all of the teams playing and lots of players to decide to play in our lineups. Maybe some tough start-sit decisions with some injuries and things like that. As always, if you have any questions, make sure you ask them in the chat. I will be pulling those up on screen, and we'll be talking about them as we go through this 1 hour of questionnaires. Now, one thing to note as well is as we get into the 12 p.m., that's 12 p.m. Eastern time slot, we will get the final injury reports, so we will have lots of injury news to talk about as well. One of the main things so far this morning that I feel like has been announced as of recently, just 14 minutes ago, Tom Pelissero says Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins will be inactive today versus the Eagles. So he pulled his quad. He was running a route in practice, hurt it. Now he's not playing today. T. Higgins, he be crashing out in practice, bro. I feel like every week he goes to practice and he comes out with an injury. So T. Higgins not available tonight, or I guess today, really, in this game. Now, that's exactly what Steve was saying. T. Higgins is officially ruled out. But I see we got some questions in the chat, so let's start answering some of these questions. Raul says, good morning, fellow league mates. That is y'all. This is the League FFB. Y'all are our league mates here, so good morning to you. Steve, first question of the day. He says, flex 1, Amari Cooper, Chase Brown, McMillan, half-point PPR. For me, I'm going to be going with Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is the play. I like him there. Robert, good morning. Bigsby, Warren, or Mostert, BTJ, or Marvin Harrison Jr. in the flex. With the running backs, I'm going to go with Tank Bigsby. With the wide receivers, I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. over Marvin Harrison. Now, JX says, half PPR, flex 2. We got Shakir, Wicks, Downs, Tillman, and Kraft. I'm going to go with Shakir and Wicks in this one. I'm going to play those two guys. I think they just have some of the better matchups. Niner, Jalen McMillan or Jalen Tolbert, full PPR for a spot start. I would rather go with Jalen McMillan. I trust him a little bit more than Tolbert. That Dallas offense hasn't looked good. Now, hopefully they come out of their bye week and they do look good, but so far they haven't. Raul says, McMillan or D-Hop, full PPR, 10-man. Man, this one's tough. I don't really know what D-Hop's role is going to look like. I imagine he's going to be used. I think I'd rather go with McMillan, though. I think I'd rather play McMillan this week than D-Hop. One more piece of news. Zay Flowers, he's active today, and Will Levis is officially inactive, so Mason Rudolph is going to be starting for the Titans as well. Chicken, Jaden Daniels, Brees, Saquon, Kamara, Pacheco, Tyreek, Jettis, Ingram. I only really have Addison for my wide receiver on the bench. Do I trade an RB for another good wide receiver? PPR, 12-man, 4 and 3. So you're pretty decent at running back. Brees, Saquon, I mean, that's as good as it gets. Kamara, Pacheco. I'm very nervous about Pacheco. I don't know how good Pacheco is going to be when he comes back. Yeah, I mean, if you can trade Pacheco for a good wide receiver, I'm probably doing that. Because I think you have enough in the running back room with Brees and Saquon and Kamara. So, yes, the guy I would be trading is Pacheco. I'd be trying to sell off the hype that he's returning because I don't believe he's going to be that good when he does come back. Maybe I'll eat my words on that, but that injury is tough to come back from, especially with the running style that Isaiah Pacheco plays with. So, yes, I would be trading him for a wide receiver. 2 for Superflex. We get Tua, Nix, and Kyler. Oh, man. Tua is for sure one of the plays for me. It would be between Nix and Kyler as the QB2. And if I'm double-checking my rankings right here, my heart wants to go with Kyler Murray. I don't know if that's actually what I should be doing. I want to say... Oh, man, these guys are all back-to-back-to-back. Yeah, I'm playing Kyler over Nix. In my rankings, but it would probably be Kyler and Tua for me. Pick 2, full PPR, wide receiver 2, and flex. Chubb, Dobbs, Shakur, McMillan. I'm going to go with Romeo Dobbs and Khalil Shakir. Those would be the two for me. Chuba or Bigsby. I'm going to go with Chuba. Hunt, Mixon, KW9, Josh Jacobs. Are we just picking one of these, Raul? Oh, it says bench one. Bench one. It's a standard league. I think we're benching Jacobs there. I'm going to play Mixon, Hunt, and KW. Mahad says, what's up, Andrew? I wanted to ask, would you rather start BTJ this week or Devonta Smith? That's a close one for me. I would probably lean BTJ this week, though. Also, thoughts on how Chase is going to do fantasy-wise without Higgins. It's going to be interesting, man, because I feel like Jamar Chase, he benefits from having T. Higgins on the football field. When T. Higgins is on the field, it seems like Chase gets open a little bit better. You know, there's just another weapon for the defense to worry about when T. Higgins is on the field. So it's going to be a little bit easier for them to dial in. However, the matchup for them this week being Philadelphia, their defense hasn't been really that great against wide receivers so far this year. I think Chase is still going to have a good day. I had him as my number one wide receiver coming into the week. That was before T. Higgins was ruled out. I can't imagine it's going to change much, if at all. So I still think he's going to have a very good day. Levi says, should I flex Tank and have Pollard and Achane starting? Or I have Pollard and Achane starting. I would start Achane. It would be between Pollard and Tank for me. And assuming full PPR, I think I'm going to go with Tank in full PPR over Pollard. Mario says pick two, Dobbins, Pollard, Rachaad White. It would be Dobbins and Pollard for me. Uncle, pick two, Terry, JSN, Dell, Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm going to go with JSN and Terry as the two. Downs droppable for a running back lotto stash like Kendrick Corum Wright. Is he droppable? I prefer not to drop him, but I mean, if he goes out there this week and doesn't perform with Anthony Richardson, it's kind of writing on the wall. Most of these wide receiver options, we've got the assumption that they're not going to be able to perform with Anthony Richardson under center. If they don't perform this week, probably just won't be for them moving forward because their matchup right now with Houston's been pretty decent as far as giving up points to the wide receiver position. I just want to double check my numbers here. I'm trying to pull that up right now. Yeah, I mean, they're 20th right now against the wide receiver position, so it's a bottom 12 team. You know, you want to target those types of matchups, and if these guys can't perform in that type of matchup outside of like one big cannon play that A-Rich throws, probably not looking great for them rest of season outlook. Now, can you pick up a guy like Kendrick Corum Wright? Sure. I think of those options for me, Corum would be the number one guy. I think we saw him last week get a little bit of work when Kyren got banged up. Obviously, the ankle happened on Thursday night just for a short period of time. It obviously didn't hinder Kyren Williams, but when he was out, Corum came in and ran a couple plays. So I think Corum does look like the number one handcuff for Kyren Williams. All right, so picks says pick 2 out of 3. Brown over Chuba for running back. 2, Marv at flex or Chuba RB2, and Chase flex, Marv bench. Okay, so we're pick 2 out of the 3. I would rather have Chuba over Brown for running back 2. Marv at flex or Chuba RB2. And I think I'd rather have Marv at the flex than Chase this week. So, yeah, I'd go Marv and Chuba. Raul says, pick 'em. You went 3 out of 3 last week. Let's keep killing it. Buffalo at Seattle. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Dallas at my Niners. LOL. Chicago at Washington. Okay. This one we're going to go off of vibes, man. We've been just going off of vibes for the most part, Raul, and we've been hitting. So we're just going to keep going off of vibes here. I'm going to go Buffalo over Seattle. Buffalo over Seattle. Atlanta over Tampa Bay. The Niners over Dallas. And Chicago over Washington. That's what we're doing. Full PPR, Kyler, Russ, or Baker. I would be going with Kyler. Thanks, man. One more I'm struggling with in a must-win league. Worthy or Dobbs? I would go with Dobbs. Or A-Rich. Yeah, it doesn't change if you put A-Rich in there. I don't really want to start A-Rich. Tolbert or Warren, full PPR. Give me Tolbert. Should Travis Kelce get the start, or should I start Evan Engram? I would be starting Evan Engram over Travis Kelce. Full PPR, pick 2, Pickens, Chubb, Ramondre, Jordan Mason. Give me Jordan Mason and Pickens. No problem. Bradley, my guy, he says, what's up, bro? What's up to you, man? Daniels or Josh Allen for QB? What prime flavor are we drinking? Best looking YouTuber in the space. No. You're going to make me cough, bro. I've been sick, and laughing is going to make me cough here. So I appreciate that message, Caleb. Daniels or Josh Allen? I would be going with Josh Allen. It sounds like Jaden Daniels can play. If he plays, I'm worried about him potentially getting it re-aggravated and then not finishing the game. This is also a tough defense, so give me Josh. What prime flavor are we drinking? We're drinking the Energy Ice Pop. That's the one we're drinking today, so appreciate you, man. Half PPR, Dearness Johnston or Tillman? Give me Tillman. Bradley says, higher floor, Zay Flowers or Rashad White? The higher floor is Zay Flowers to me. Jeff says, flex Bigsby, Lockett, or Dobbs, full PPR. I think I'm going to go Bigsby there. What's your anytime touchdown parlay this week? Missed mine last week by 1 leg. I don't have one out right now, but if I just was looking at a couple matchups, I think guys that I like, I'll give you 3 names of guys that I like that can score a touchdown. I like Jordan Mason this week. Actually, I'll give you 5 guys, and you can pick and choose what you want. Breece Hall, Jordan Mason. We'll go one more at the running back position. Kareem Hunt. At the wide receiver position, who do I like? Probably Drake London. And if you want a deeper one with probably better odds, I kind of like Jalen Waddle. I'm not responsible for any bets you missed, though. Just saying. Fantasy God says Rico or Bucky and JSN or Marv. I think I'm going to go Bucky over Rico, and I'm going to go JSN over Marv. Superflex, Daniels, Richardson, Winston. I'm probably just playing Daniels here. Romo Dunze or Christian Kirk, half PPR. Tough. Probably Romo Dunze, though. Tank or Waddle? I like Waddle more than Tank this week. Do I trade Keenan for Dell? I think you could, but the issue is Nico is only a few weeks away, and if he's a few weeks away, Dell is going to go back to pretty non-involved in this offense because it's going to be Nico and Diggs again. So actually looking at it, you could do that. I probably wouldn't do that, though. All right, let's move on to the next one. Nick, full PPR flex, Pop or Sutton? I think I would rather go with Pop Douglas this week. Do I start Rashad Bateman or Zay Flowers? I mean, I'm starting Zay Flowers. 3 flex spots, half PPR, half tight end premium. Otten, Lockett, Rashad White, Olave, Shakir. I am going to go with Olave, Lockett, And I think Shakir is what I'm playing there too. If you don't want to go Shakir, I don't mind you going Otten though. AZ at Miami, forgot one. That one's a Miami for me. All right, I think we're a little bit caught up. Let's just check and make sure we don't have any new news here. Looks like Zay Flowers is active. ETN out. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much the stuff we knew. Looks like right now, yeah, we've covered pretty much everything that's happened so far. Steelers D or Chiefs D this week. I would go with Chiefs D. Start Waddle, Pickens, or Jaden Reed. I would go Jaden Reed. Zach Ertz or Komet. I'm assuming that's Komet. I would rather play Komet. Super chat from Raul. Appreciate you. He says, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Appreciate you as always, supporting the stream. As always, folks, that does remind me, you do not have to by any means. Do not feel like you are obligated. But if you do want to skip the line at any point, if it feels like your question is down the row a little bit and you feel like you want to get it answered quicker, we do jump to the super chats immediately as soon as they come in. So as these start to pile up, if you don't have a lot of time and you just want the answer, a super chat is the best way to skip the line. So again, thank you, Raul, and appreciate your support as always. Froggy says Cole Kmet or Njoku. I would rather go with Njoku. Gremlin says main reason is because Zay Flowers is still being affected by his ankle and Rashad Bateman could look at more touches. Yeah, I mean, always a case that could happen, but I just would rather play my studs, and I think Zay Flowers falls into start your studs, and I think getting cute like that sometimes, you'd much rather regret benching Zay Flowers and playing Bateman than just having Zay Flowers have a bad day. What's a good price for Nico? Is something like Mixon and Waddle crazy? Yeah, I mean, that kind of feels like a lot to give up to go get Nico. Mixon feels like he's going to be a top 5, top 10 guy the rest of the way, and Waddle feels like a very good wide receiver too the rest of the way with Tua back in the lineup. So it does feel a little bit like that. JX says dropped 50 on the 5-legger. Jersey coming your way if it hits. Hell yeah. Let's hope it hits then. Fingers crossed. Some kind of Cad Wallater says, good morning, Andrew. Half PPR, are you trusting Debo this week over the likes of Amari, Devontae, Tony P, Wicks, Hopkins? I mean, he's the most talented guy of these players. I think he's the guy that I'd like to play the most. And in a half PPR, if he says he's healthy, I guess we throw him into the lineup. The only one that I would really consider just based off of my rankings when I'm looking at the wide receiver position would probably be Devontae Smith, and I think he's safer than Deebo Samuel. So if you want to play the safe game and you want to guarantee some extra points, I think Devontae Smith might be the best play of the grouping there, just because he should have a safe floor here. So I think he's probably the play for me. Should I start Olave or James Conner at flex since Higgins is out? Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these two, Olave or James Conner, I think I'm going to just be playing... Olave is probably going to have Rattler. I view Olave this week, and it's a tough matchup. I think I'm probably going to play James Conner over Olave, but yeah, I would definitely be playing James Conner. Oh, and there's the second question, my bad. And McBride or Njoku at tight end? I'd go McBride. Half PPR, pick one. Devontae, Ramondre, Dowdle, Rashad. It's going to be Devonta Smith for me. Half PPR, flex one. Myers, Worthy, Odunze, Wandell. I'm going to go with Wan'Dale Robinson in the half PPR. How do you feel about Worthy this week from Bradley? Look, I'll tell you where I got him in my rankings. I don't love one. Las Vegas has been kind of good actually against the wide receiver position. They're currently the 8th toughest matchup for wide receivers, giving up only 23.6 fantasy points per game. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy. He's always going to have the ability to have a big play, a big week where he catches a slant or does something like that, and it goes for 90 yards because he's so fast. I think that's the boom bust nature of a guy like Xavier Worthy, but he's not a guy that I really feel comfortable throwing into my lineup. I currently have him right now outside of my top 36 wide receivers on the week, which is going to make him just a flex play, even in leagues where you have 3 starting wide receivers. So he's a guy that I'm probably leaning towards the flex if you start 4 wide receivers. If you don't start 4 of them, he's probably a guy that I'm putting on the bench. Half Track says Pop Douglas, D-Hop, McMillan, or Olave, full PPR. I'm leaning towards Pop. Yeah, you definitely could. I think with options like Pop and McMillan and stuff, I would rather just play my guy in Olave and live with the results, because I think Pop, really a realistic outcome is probably somewhere between like 7 and 14 to 15 points. I think Olave, the realistic outcome is somewhere between like 5 and 25 points. So I just think you get a similar floor and a better ceiling with Olave. So I'd be playing him, range of outcomes wise. Controversial. Pick 1, PPR, Devontae Adams, Brian Thomas Jr., or George Pickens. Well, this is a great question, because in my PPR rankings right now, those full PPR, I do have these guys all fairly close. Devontae Adams, I have him as a top 12 guy. George Pickens, I have him as 17. And then the other one, Brian Thomas Jr., I have him at 18. So for me, I'm going to go Devontae Adams this week. I like the matchup against New England, but all of these guys are high-end wide receiver 2 type of range for me this week. Trying to pull this one up. I don't know why it's not clicking. There we go. Levi says, does Tua get the start today? I kind of don't want to play Stroud after last week. I mean, I think Tua is definitely a good play this week. I have Tua right now as a top 10 quarterback. I have Stroud as a top 7 quarterback. So I'm still playing Stroud. I understand you don't want to play him after last week. I don't really want to look at last week when I'm trying to project this week. Both are great plays. If you don't want to, I have them close enough in my rankings that it's not a big deal. But, yeah, I'd still be playing Stroud. Marlon with the fish stick profile. Hey, man, I have Kyler Murray, and he plays Miami. Should I drop Wan'Dale Robinson or Keon? Okay, so we're dropping one of these guys. I would rather drop Keon than Wan'Dale. I think Wan'Dale's more worthy of having the roster spot. So that's what I would be doing. Full PPR pick 2. Christian Kirk, Jalen McMillan, Jacoby. I'm going to go with Christian Kirk and Jalen McMillan. JX says Worthy is just a younger, sexier Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That's crazy. You might not be wrong, though, but it's kind of crazy. But, yeah, I appreciate that. Morning, bro. Cade Otton with the Bucks wide receivers out. Tucker Kraft with all the Green Bay receivers back. Or Pitts? Great question. I think for me, I'm still going with Tucker Kraft. I just trust the offense, the high scoring of it more. My second option would probably be Cade Otton, though. So if you don't want to risk the target competition, I'm fine with it being Cade. But I think Tucker Kraft, he's just on the best offense that has the most passing volume. Appreciate you spending Sunday morning with us. No problem, man. I appreciate you guys spending Sunday morning with me. Dixon doubt you get asked this often, but Packers defensive special teams or Jets defensive special teams, ESPN rules. I would rather go with... Yeah, I mean, we don't get asked defensive questions that often, but I think for me, I would rather go with... Where's my... What are we looking at? Jets. The Jets. Yeah, I'm probably going to go with the Packers. I think T-Law is just a little bit more sporadic. Probably go with T-Law. Target T-Law with the Packers defense. Bigsby or Dobbs. I think I'm going to go with Bigsby here. Laporta or Ferguson in PPR. I'm going to go with Ferguson. Tank Bigsby or D-Hop, or accept trade of Pollard for Tank. Levis Rudolph just so bad. Tank Bigsby or D-Hop, or accept trade of Pollard for Tank. I mean, I would rather have Pollard rest of season than Tank Bigsby, but Tank Bigsby has a better matchup this week. So can you just start Tank this week and then make that Pollard trade after? That would be ideal for me, probably. What do we got? Tua or Jaden Daniels? Let's go with... I mean, if Jaden's playing, you got to play Jaden Daniels. The problem is we don't know 100% whether or not he's playing. Tua, what time does the Dolphins game start again? You might have to make a decision here where if the Dolphins play in the morning slate, which I think they do. They do. Yeah, I think you're going to have to make the tough decision, and you probably just play Tua right now because we don't know what's going to happen with Jaden Daniels. It sounds like he can trend towards playing. He's risky. You don't want to get caught with your pants down, for lack of better terms there, so you probably just need to start Tua and live with the results. Kamara or Hunt? I would go with Hunt. Marlon says, I didn't see it cut out. Okay, so there was actually more to this question. He said, drop Wan'Dale Robinson or Keon for Kirk Cousins. If you have Kyler. No, I would still just play Kyler over Kirk Cousins this week. That's probably just what I'm doing. I'm not dropping one of these guys. Njoku or Kraft. Give me Njoku. I have Kyler Murray that plays the best matchup against quarterback. Yeah, I think that Miami being the best matchup against quarterback, I think it's a little bit, the numbers are fudged a little bit because they didn't have a quarterback for a long time, so it was just low-scoring games, which resulted in low fantasy points. So I think that number's a little bit fudged. I wouldn't be trusting it entirely. Laporta or Pitts. I'm going to go Laporta. Is starting Kraft at flex over Zay Flowers valid? He says Kelsey at tight end. I still probably am just going to play Zay Flowers over Kraft. I trust him this week. I know a lot of people are worried about the ankle. I still trust him. Half PPR, pick one. Schultz, Disley, likely. Give me Dalton Schultz. I'm playing him in a league actually right now. So I thought TJ Hawkinson was going to be back this week. He's not. So I'm playing him. Pick two. Brian Thomas Jr., Debo, or Pickens. I'm going to go BTJ and Debo if he plays. But you're going to have to wait to find out about Debo. It sounds like he's going to play. Last that we heard about it, where was it? It was Debo Samuel. Sounds like he's trending towards playing. We'll see. I just got the injury report. Let's pull up this injury report too. We'll show that on screen for you guys. Here's the injury report right now. Sorry, where is that? Get that off the screen. So Tua is active. Bucky Irving is active. Tyreek Hill active. Zay Flowers active. You got Will Levis, ETN, T. Higgins, and Alan Lazard all out this week. Players also ruled out are Jerome Ford, Tajay Spears, Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Jawan Jennings, Jamison Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Dallas Goedert. So lots of notable names, obviously, at the wide receiver position. Specifically, you got Evans, Deontay, J-Mo, all of these guys out. It's kind of a little bit of a rough week at wide receiver, T. Higgins as well. But, yeah, this is the notable players, the injury report right now. this was Roto World's injury report. So hopefully that helps a tiny bit. I will get that off the screen, and we will go right back into the questions. Is it time to trade Kelsey? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much better it's going to get for Kelsey. This is a good matchup for the Chiefs this week. Maybe you play him this week, see what happens, but Kelsey looks like he's an old tight end, honestly. Lawrence, Wilson, or Nix this week. I would be playing, I think I'm playing Bo Nix. PPR, you need a flex. Mostert, Chubb, JSN, worried about the weather in Seattle. I hear you about the weather in Seattle. JSN still feels like the best pick there, though. Tua over Cousins? Yes. Bradley says, appreciate you. Marlon says, okay, thanks. Thank you, guys. Otten, Komet, or Schultz? I'm going to go with Kate Otten. Mahomes or Russell Wilson? Dude, I am making this exact decision in my league as we speak. My gut tells me that I should be playing Russell Wilson over Mahomes. My heart doesn't want to do that. My gut is telling me I should. So I think I need to listen and just play Russell Wilson over Mahomes. Mahomes hasn't been good, but they're really trying to narrative base this thing where the Kermit stuff happened in the offseason where they were using Kermit. The Raiders were using a Kermit the Frog dressed as Mahomes thing in training camp. And now everybody's like, Mahomes is going to handle it. He's going to handle it when he handles it. I'm trying not to feed into the narrative. I think they're close enough. Honestly, the reason I'm using it as a tiebreaker of going Russell Wilson is because my opponent has George Pickens. So I'm going to neutralize George Pickens by having Russell Wilson out there. That's maybe not the best way to think about it, but it's what I'm doing. I think the smart decision to do is go Russell Wilson, but it's tough, man, to bench Mahomes. Jake Ferguson or Cedric Tillman for the final flex spot? I would go with Ferguson. He said, should I play Ferguson over Kelsey? I would still play Ferguson over Kelsey, but I would play Kelsey over Tillman no matter what. So I would play both the tight ends. Wandell or Bateman, full PPR? I would play Bateman. Who's your top 3 defensive special teams for the week? Let's pull those up. I have these written down somewhere. Defense. So I like the Broncos this week against Carolina and Bryce Young, obviously. I like the Chiefs against Gardner Minshew and the Ravens against Jameis Winston. Those are my top 3. You want 2 more? I like the Chargers against Rattler and the Steelers against the Giants. Kyle says McBride or Ferguson. I go with McBride. Devonta Smith over Tank Dell. I would go Devonta Smith over Tank Dell. Mooney or JSN. PPR. Give me JSN. Yo, please pick 2. James Cook, Brian Robinson, or Tank Bigsby. Full PPR. So I would be going with James Cook and Tank Bigsby. Those would be the 2 for me. Levi says, thank you, my guy. You're the best. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. RSG says, Lawrence or Russell Wilson this week. I would be going with Trevor Lawrence. Zah says, yo, start 2. Full PPR, Superflex, Murray, Caleb, or Cousins. I'm going Caleb. And then, I guess start 2. So, Superflex. I'm going Caleb and Kyler. And then start 1, Ferguson or Pitts. I'm going to go with Ferguson over Pitts. Wandell or Odunze. I'm going to go with Wandell, assuming it's full PPR. Gamble on Ricky Rolex Pearsall or Romeo Dobbs. Full PPR. I would rather go Romeo Dobbs in this situation. So we should be caught up now. We'll let a couple more questions come in. We got about 20 more minutes until we're done with this stream. So we'll answer questions for another 20 minutes. Appreciate you guys for being here. I'm going to just keep checking, make sure we're not missing any news. It's kind of the flow of this thing, man. I appreciate you guys being here as always, for sure. Thank you for putting up with my congested sounding voice. I know it probably sounds a little bit annoying. I know some people get annoyed by the congestion. Hey, I think we're on the upswing. Hopefully that being said, I appreciate you guys being here anyways. I don't see any new news, so I think we're all right there. As far as everything else goes, yeah, I think we're all right. Myles Garrett showed up as the Terminator. That's actually kind of crazy. I'm going to show this on the screen. Look at this. That's Myles Garrett. That's crazy. That's wild. All right, got a couple more questions here we'll answer. Gremlin says, Jonathan Taylor going up against the Texans or Kareem Hunt against the Raiders? I would go with Kareem Hunt. Shakir or Pollard? I'm playing against Josh Allen. I think I still go Pollard. Yeah, I'm still going to go Pollard. Christian Kirk or Rome Odunze, half PPR. These guys are close. I'm going to go with Rome Odunze. Cadwallader says, peace. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Kamara versus the Chargers or Javonte versus Carolina. I am going to go with Javonte in this matchup. He's going to be my play there. All right, keep throwing those questions in the chat, folks. We'll keep answering those. Like I said, we got about 20 more minutes, so we'll answer them if they come in. If you guys don't have any more questions, I guess no big deal either. We can just chill and chat, or we can call it a little bit early. Go hang out, go grab some food or something before the games, whatever. It don't matter to me. All right. Controversial says, your thoughts on Kupp and Puka going forward? Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to see them both healthy in the lineup. I think we saw even this last week. Now, that was a good matchup for them. I think Minnesota's ranked like 32nd against the wide receiver position, so they were like dead last against wide receivers. They are both going to be at minimum high-end wide receiver twos, I think, the rest of the way. These guys are going to be good. They're going to get a lot of targets. They're going to be in a lot of games where they're going to have to throw the football. I love both of them the rest of the way. And I think they looked healthy-ish for being on IR and coming off a while of not practicing and being on limited snaps and things like that. So I like them. Simp says full PPR, Geno or Tua, Pickens or BTJ, Cyber or Lutz. Okay, so I would be going with Tua over Geno, BTJ over Pickens, and then for the kicker, give me Will Lutz. Bogey says some gross options, but for 3 flex spots, 1 point tight end premium, Watson, Judy, Conklin, Moss, Wandell. I'm going to go Watson, Wandell, and Judy. I'm going to leave Conklin and Moss on the bench. Jordan says Bowers or Kittle. Give me Bowers. I have Drake London, Garrett Wilson, and Zay Flowers starting. Should DJ Moore be replaced with any of them? Well, is this a full PPR? I'm assuming it's PPR. In my PPR rankings right now, I have, we're talking about Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, DJ Moore. DJ Moore right now, to me, he's a top 15 play. I have him over Zay Flowers, so I would probably pull out Zay, and I would put DJ Moore in. And then everybody else, I'd keep them where they're at. But that would be the move for me. I would pull out Zay, and I'd put in DJ Moore. Should I drop Goddard? I have Kraft and Njoku. I think you can. If you need the space and you need to pick something else up, I think you can. I think rest of the way, I'd rather have Njoku. Gremlin says yes. Yeah, so, yeah, I'd throw DJ Moore over Zay. I don't know who to start as 2 wide receiver. Troy Franklin, Debo, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Sterling Shepard. 2 wide receivers here. I'm going to go with Debo. And I think I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. Debo and Calvin Ridley for me this week. Dylan says, what's up? Full PPR, different leagues. So start 2 flex. We got Bateman, Odunze, Shakir, Olave. And then you have start 1 tight end. So we'll just go through these one by one. Start the 2 flex. Odunze, Shakir, Olave, Bateman. I'm going to go with Olave and Shakir. For the 1 tight end, Komet and Ertz, I'm going to go with Komet. Start 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, and 1 flex. So the 1 quarterback, Tua, Daniels, or Kirk. I think I'm just going to throw Tua over Daniels just because we don't know yet. But I would play Tua. I still think he's a top 10 play regardless. Jacobs, Dobbins, K9. So we're getting 2 of these guys. I'm going to go with K9 and Dobbins. 1 wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, Terry, D-Hop. That's Garrett Wilson for me. And then the flex is going to be the other running back. So Terry and D-Hop land on the bench for me. But yeah, that's what I'm doing there. Sheldo says, thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot. All right, folks, we're getting somewhat close towards the end of the stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say we got 15-ish minutes. I'm going to say last call. We'll try and get through about 10 more minutes of questions. So throw those final questions in here. This is the last call. Once we get to the bottom of the list of this next little wave of questions that come in, we will wrap up this stream. So throw those questions in. About 10 more minutes of this, and then we'll head on out of here. So I'm just going to double check again for more news. Bradley, I see your question. We're going to get to that in just a second. But I'm just going to re-look to make sure we don't have any more news. All right, it looks like we don't have really anything new on here. So it might be just what we're working with right now. All right, we'll get through some of these questions. Bradley, I said you would be next up. Would you bench Baker this week? Tua is your backup. Yeah, I mean, I probably would. When I look at my quarterback rankings right now, I have Tua as my QB 10. I have Baker Mayfield right now as my QB 18. So Baker's been great. Without his top weapons, yeah, I'm playing Tua. Footy University says this one isn't looking good, but Mostert, ETN, Downs, Ferguson, or Shepard for my flex. Well, it sounds like ETN is not playing the last we heard, so it's definitely not going to be him. Maybe he is. No, I don't think he's playing. Yeah, he's out. So Mostert, Downs, Ferguson, or Shepard for my flex. I'm going to go with Jake Ferguson. I think Jake Ferguson is probably the guy you play in the flex here. Landon says, I'll throw one more, pick one to not start. So pick the guy we're benching here. It's full PPR, Brian Robinson Jr., Mason, Bigsby, and Mixon. 2 start, 1 flex. So we can go through all of these guys. I'll tell you where I have them in my rankings at the moment. I will tell you right now, Mixon is definitely starting. I have Mixon as a top 3 back this week. When it comes to where I have Mason is the next guy. He's RB8. And then we're talking about Brian Robinson Jr. and Tank Bigsby. For me, it's going to be Brian Robinson Jr. I have him ahead of Tank Bigsby, so I would play him, even though it's a tough matchup against Chicago. But, yeah, those would be the guys. I guess we're benching Bigsby here. Brando says, worth it to drop Sermon for Dalvin Cook. I mean, yes, it is, because Sermon is not necessarily a great fill-in, and Jonathan Taylor's back. So, yes, if you want to drop him and try and pick Dalvin Cook up and see if Cook has juice, I'm not opposed to it. Nathan says, should I drop either Pearsall or Bateman for Pop Douglas? Tough. All of these guys are kind of the same tier for me. I think I like Pearsall a little bit more than I like the other two. I think I would drop Bateman for Pop Douglas. I think I'd go Pop and Pearsall and then drop Bateman. Brando says, would you start Stevenson and or Eckler over McMillan or Keenan Allen? Need 2 flexes from those 4. I think I would play Stevenson and Stevenson and Keenan Allen. I think those would be the 2 that I play as the 2 flexes. Rafi, and I think this is the last question we'll have unless we get any that come in just like right now. But Rafi says, does Taysom Hill have any fantasy value for the rest of the season? Maybe. I mean, the fact that you can play him at a tight end is kind of a cheat code, but he's been banged up. He's been hurt. We need to see Derek Carr get back in this lineup. As much as people want to, poo-poo on Derek Carr, we need him back in the lineup. When you look at rest of season schedule for tight end, though, Taysom Hill has a decent, schedule the rest of the way. He's going to get to play Las Vegas, Tampa, Washington, Los Angeles, Carolina. Like, these are some of the teams on the schedule, so he should have a good way. Maybe he'll get healthy, maybe not. We haven't seen him play in a while, so. But he is the tight end cheat code, man, because he's used in the run game and all these other places. Controversial said, should I drop Mostert or Tracy for Dalvin Cook? I would not be dropping those guys for Dalvin Cook. Keon, Leggett, or Pop Douglas? Give me Pop Douglas. And that is it, folks. So I appreciate you guys being here. Actually, we got one more. Also, you're one of my faves on your Idiot League mates. I appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate the love. We've been pretty banged up, so just trying to get a dub. We got Nick this week, man. I got Nick in that league. We've been debating the Russell Wilson or Patrick Mahomes start. We'll see what happens there. Maybe I'll make a last-minute decision. Maybe not. I don't know. Right now, I'm playing Russell Wilson. We'll see if I have the nuts to bench Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, folks, that is it. Appreciate you and all of your support. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you do all of those things for us. They really do help us. They do support the channel, and it's a free way to do it. It's very easy, and I appreciate you doing those for us. Good luck in your Week 8 matchups. You guys, we got to get these dubs. We're getting to that second half of the season. Playoffs are closer than the beginning of the season is to us now at this point. So we're getting close to the playoffs. It's time to go. Hopefully you guys all do well. One more question snuck in here. Trick said W stream, and Gerald said, should I start Hopkins, Olave, or Wando Robinson to the flex? Love the vids, by the way. So he snuck in at the very last second. We call that a buzzer beater. And for me, I'm going Olave over those options. So there you have it. Nothing else for you today. I will see you on our next one. Tomorrow, we're going to do the recap for Week 8. So make sure you tap in tomorrow if you want to recap all of these games that happened today. We'll see you on the next one. Till then, peace out.